Hi, we're in the Social 50 group number 6. I'm Ashley Strazzi.
I'm Deanna Mahar.
I'm Lindsey Strazzi.
And I'm Katrina Teal.
And our research project for this class was, does time or day affect how many customers will purchase Dunkin' Donuts coffee? In commuting to school each and every day, we noticed that many people stop at Dunkin' Donuts located at 65 Congress Street, Troy, New York for coffee. We frequently observe that most people stop around the time of 7 to 8 a.m. because this is the time most people are heading to school or work. When we leave school around 4 to 5 p.m., we notice that Dunkin' Donuts is far less busy than it was in the morning hours. Why is this? We believe that people need caffeine in the morning to start their day off right. We know not everybody works the same hours, but we want to see if more people stop for coffee in the morning during 7 to 8 a.m. versus any other times during the day. For our study, we will compare the morning hour to the afternoon hour of 4 to 5 p.m. We also want to see what percentage of people go inside versus those who go through the drive-thru window, especially if they are crunching for time to get to work or school. Are people avoiding the drive-thru because of how crowded it is, or are they avoiding going inside because of how busy it is? We want to test 2 separate hours during the day to compare the numbers of when we think it will be busier. Specifically, our research question is, does the time of day have an effect on people's choices when to stop and purchase a coffee?
To assess whether the time of day has an effect on customers' decision to stop for coffee, we conducted an observational study of customers at Dunkin' Donuts. On a weekday, we sat inside a booth inside Dunkin' Donuts between the hours of 7 to 8 a.m. and 4 to 5 p.m., and we observed how many people came inside or went through the drive-thru window for coffee. Using a simple paper and pencil table, we recorded the following observations. The first one being the total number of people who came inside for a coffee, and the second one being the total number of people who go through the drive-thru window. We had 2 separate paper and pencil charts for each of these. One was customers who came inside, and the next one customers who drove through the drive-thru.
Across the 2 observation periods, we observed a total of 120 people who stopped at the 65 Congress Street Dunkin' Donuts. During the 7 and 8 a.m. hour, 84 customers, 70%, bought coffee. Of the 84 customers observed during the 7 to 8 a.m. hour, 55 customers, 65%, opted for the drive-thru window, and the other 29 customers, 35%, went inside to order their coffee. During the 4 to 5 p.m. hour, 36 customers, 30%, bought coffee. Of the 36 customers observed during the 4 to 5 p.m. hour, 18 customers, 50%, opted for the drive-thru window, and the other 18 customers, 50%, went inside to order their coffee.
From the results of our observations, it appears that time of day does seem to have an effect on customers' decisions to stop for a coffee and to decide whether or not they want to go inside or if they want to order via drive-thru. Between the hours of 7 and 8 a.m., a majority of people stopped for a coffee versus the 4 to 5 p.m. time period. Of all the people who stopped that day, most people chose the drive-thru option. Since a greater proportion of people chose to stop for a coffee during the rush hour than they chose to do so during the non-rush hour time period, it appears as though our hypothesis was supported. Our hypothesis being that more people will stop in the morning versus later in the day. More people are willing to leave early or even be willing to be late just to stop for that morning coffee. After completing our study, we realized that some limitations could have affected our results. Those limitations being that we did an observational study, and because of that, we only viewed customers coming in and going through the drive-thru. We could not ask customers if they stopped at Dunkin' Donuts on a regular basis. Also, we could have done another time frame around 9 to 10 a.m. or even earlier to see if the results varied from the other 2 times we had studied. Another limitation of our study is that we could have done a study at another nearby location to compare the results with what we had found at the Troy location to see if the area affects the number of people who stop for coffee. Despite these limitations, these findings do seem to imply that people who are in a hurry, for example, those rushing to get to work or school in the morning, are most likely to go through the drive-thru rather than park their car and go inside to order coffee. Further research could be conducted that observes customers' decisions on when it is best for them to stop and get a coffee. The drive-thru is much more convenient for those who are running a little bit late. To help combat this problem, people who want to stop for coffee could either leave earlier so that they miss this rush hour, or make coffee at their own house so they can avoid this whole situation of potentially being late for work or school just to get their caffeine fix.